Thank you for staying with us. Our lifestyle today is something that will make us stop and think a bit. It regards the big C word, cancer. And cancer is a large group of diseases that can start in almost any organ or tissue of the body when abnormal cells grow uncontrollably or go beyond their usual boundaries to invade adjoining parts of the body and or spread to other organs. The latter process is called metastasizing and is a major cause of death. In neoplasm and malignant tumor are other common names for cancer. Is it possible to protect oneself from cancer? Is it possible to prevent cancer? These are all questions we're going to ask our doctor in the house this morning, Dr. Bukola Agumbiade. Good morning. She's looking very sober herself.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, can cancer be prevented?
I think with an healthy lifestyle, if you have unhealthy lifestyle habits, you should be able to prevent it to an extent.
Okay.
To an extent.
To an extent.
Healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
It's all about lifestyle, isn't it?
Let me bust somebody's bubble. So, does it include what the people will eat?
Yes, the lifestyle includes what you eat.
I know why I'm saying it, because somebody...
In fact, what you eat takes about 80% of your healthy lifestyle.
I'm sorry to be rude on air, but... yes, I was saying. So... this segment is the lifestyle segment. So, how can your lifestyle protect you against cancer?
I think the 4 pillars of health is basically you eat right for you exercise, you sleep well, and you love more. Because we've been able to find out that most times people develop cancer after a loss. Yes.
Loss of?
Loss. It could be financial loss. It could be the loss of a loved one.
Really?
Yes. So most times when we have cancer patients, we've been able to trace it down to a major loss in their life.
What's the connection?
Okay. When you have a loss, whether it's a financial loss or the loss of a loved one or a divorce or something, anything huge, one of the first things that happens is your body starts producing a lot of adrenaline because you're that flight or fight mode. So your body starts producing a lot of adrenaline, and excess adrenaline in the body kicks off chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation over time kicks off the overgrowth of cells. If you have it in your
this is an eye-opener.
So
yes.
The body produces chemicals it doesn't need.
Yes.
And it doesn't have any way of excreting them.
Excreting it out of the body.
So it accumulates somewhere.
No, it's not really accumulation. It's more of a pathway. Because if you have adrenaline, okay, your adrenaline is produced from your adrenal glands. So when you are producing a lot of it, so that means the adrenal glands are getting tired, as in they'll be working a lot, they'll be working overtime. And once you have any organ in the body that is overproducing, then the body will produce white blood cells in an attempt to save that organ. So while trying to save that organ, chronic inflammation happens in the body as a result of a lot of white blood cells and all of that. And that could trigger excessive growth.
This is, as my colleague said, this is very, very interesting. So the long and short of this is, for anyone who has had a major loss over the past, who has never had any case of anything close to cancer, and they have had a major loss within the last few months or years, they should do some checkups.
Yes, they should. They should do some checkup.
How does that even begin? Because there are those who would say, look, I don't have anything, I don't have a history of it. Is there?
Nobody. I don't think there's really anybody that has an history of cancer. As in, you hardly see people who say they have an history of it.
Except the one with breast cancer, where they say it may run in the family.
Yes.
If your mother has died of breast cancer, for instance, they say
you are most likely to.
You best go and check.
Yes. But breast cancer, I think, is the one that is most prominent. The other types of cancers are not. There are things that we are just starting to have the conversations around them. There are so many types of cancer. You have colorectal cancer, you have lung cancer, you have so many types. So it's not just the breast. So nobody really has an history of cancer. But if you know you've suffered a major loss, try and work on yourself to be able to sleep more and all of that, and do a medical checkup. There's no do a checkup specifically for cancer.
So let's talk about the possibility of prevention. You said lifestyle. Can you give us some specific details?
Okay, I'll start from this issue of major loss, because one thing I've realized is in this part of the world, we don't tend to mental health. We don't take it seriously. In fact, we push people after loss to just brave it up and just move on. And that person that is moving on might be a walking casket. So the first thing you want to do is to distress, consciously distress, do medical checkup. That is a major thing I would want the person to do. Then, of course, exercise more. Because if you're exercising more...
Sorry, well, I beg, no vex.
Okay.
When you say distress, what do you mean?
I mean, don't, because, for example, people have major losses and they just go on living their life. No. You're supposed to, you can't do odeshi, like, I'm not feeling it. No. You need to really come to terms that this has happened, and maybe seclude yourself, maybe seclude yourself and eat right, really sleep well. Don't just have a loss and just go on living life like nothing happened. So in other words,
the person needs to go through the grief process.
Yes, grieve properly, nourish yourself while you are grieving. Give yourself the time to grieve. Then while you are grieving, nourish yourself properly.
So,
because many people grieving lose appetite, and not just appetite, sometimes they even lose the will to live, depending on whom they have lost.
They have lost, yes.
So, I mean, how are you going to give me pills to make me eat? I mean, and loss of appetite is quite common with a lot of people who are grieving.
Yes, who are grieving, yes.
So how do you make them eat? And you're talking about not just eating, nourishment, eat well.
That's why I use the word distress. Identify, this is where I am right now. Seek professional counseling. By the time you seek professional counseling, psychotherapy sessions, you start getting over that loss. So as you're getting over the loss using psychotherapy, your body will switch on the appetite by itself, because now you are facing it, you are trying to make sense of what has happened, and so the body will stop producing that adrenaline, because you can't be hungry when you are running from a lion. It's not possible. Your brain will not remind you to eat when you are running from a lion. So when you are at that state where you are still under stress, the appetite will shut down naturally.
Will Biko help?
What?
Biko, will it help?
That is just like your alternator is not working and you're just jump-starting your battery.
She came here with fire today. I mean, just imagine when you are not hungry when you are running from a lion. How in the universe? Anyway,
You won't even remember the hunger.
Of course.
Even if you are
Survival.
hungry, even if you are hungry when the lion came.
Of course, the hunger will go.
But still talking about the distressing, and I'm trying to, get you to help us understand it so that people will know that these things, you don't just, as you said, switch on or switch off. Grief is a process.
Yes.
But where many are stuck is in the denial that this thing happened.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I lost my job. I built everything on my life on this job. And then after all the years that I've put into this organization.
Depression.
All the things that I have done for this organization. And they treated me like this. And then they now go to
and
one
they fired you.
And they didn't even give me anything.
No benefits.
They now give to one mountain. And I'll be praying for that company to go down. The company is not going down. It's going back up. This depression is now. So it's to face the reality that it happened.
Yes.
The consequence of not facing it is a risk of cancer. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I hope someone is taking note of that. But then you know, we don't have a culture of going for psychotherapy in Nigeria. In fact, once you begin to talk about going for psychotherapy. Exactly. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. So help people understand the essence of that and how it helps to distress and consequently take away the risk of.
Oh, I think I'll take it from the practical point of view, because even as a professional, looking for psychotherapists is like looking for a needle in a very big space. So we don't even have enough psychotherapists. But I think what has always worked for us as Africans, as Nigerians, is a family system. But unfortunately, we are also losing that family units because everybody is busy. We are getting too busy to tend to ourselves. I think so many years ago, you could be living in a compound, or there would be a compound or family where there will be grandparents or people around. It's not like everybody is on the go. So you have people around who would tend to you after a loss and all of that. But now we don't have that. Even in your family WhatsApp group, everybody is too busy. Maybe you guys will speak 1 or 2 times in a week. So I think one of the first things we need to do, practically speaking, is to go back to those days of checking up on each other as family members and giving room for others giving room or space for others to grieve around us. Like, don't be too busy that you are so busy you can't allow a grieving family member to stay with you, or you can't check in on them and all of that. So I think we need to get away from this Ozu culture we are bringing into play.
Well, I don't know how that is going to work. But let me ask you this. Is it helpful to keep memories of that loss? To savor the memory? Does it help to heal? Or it just helps to compound? Because you can't just tell anyone to forget.
Oh, yes, definitely. But I think grieving process is a personal thing, and the person should go at their own pace. But as a medical person, what I tell people, there are times I've had discussions with people that, you gave somebody a full timetable you didn't give me. I'll tell them that I've psychoanalyzed both of you, and I've seen the difference. That, okay, this person maybe has a lifestyle that is more structured. So the person might not really need a stringent timetable, unlike you that you are not structured. So I think it depends on the individual. If it's, I always tell people to go extreme first, then you would find your balance. Okay. You might need to do away with all the memory. It's still there in your mind. You are not just, you are just consciously deciding not to face it right now, or you are consciously not tapping from it right now. So go extreme, forget all the memories for a while. Then by the time you heal, then you can start bringing back the memories.
Okay. Now, it looks like this thing about getting in touch, staying in touch, being with people, talking to people, it looks like it's very important in keeping healthy,
yes,
and well.
Yes.
Because many doctors have used this as a reason for keeping our mental status balanced. And now in talking about cancer again, it has come up. Staying in touch, being in a family group, so on the whole, being in touch seems to affect our mental well-being, does it?
Yes, a lot. Because...
But there's some people who are naturally introverted, who do not want to be with people, who do not want people to get in touch with them. So is anything wrong with them?
Some people don't like to be with people, but they like to know that they are loved. They're two different things.
That's to do. Yeah.
You can't be with people and do not feel loved. It's not about having so many people around you, because the love hormone, the endorphins, the oxytocins, all of that, they counter adrenaline. So even the feeling of love is enough.
The feeling
of being loved, yes.
How about those who just want to shut down all of those emotions? I don't want to love. I don't want to be loved.
I don't want to be loved.
I don't want to love. I don't want to be loved. I don't want to feel
anything.
They're still grieving. It's still an active grief, and you just, in fact, when you start pestering people like that, they open up in no time.
How about those who are unlovable?
There's nothing like that.
Oh,
they are
really?
not just loving them right, yes. There's nothing like that.
They are unlovable.
No. Most times, people you call unlovable are people who have systematically or strategically built a wall around them.
Okay.
So there's no problem. Just create your own stack and be peeping from to them through their wall. Finally, they'll break the wall themselves. So I don't think there's anybody.
Okay, I wanted us to really drill down on that, because we don't even know how seriously little things like that affect our lives in the long run.
Yes.
I mean, grieving or not grieving right can be responsible for cancer.
Yes.
That's a big one. You said one other thing about after the grieving. You talked about talk about nutrition for some people.
Okay, I will take it from after the grieving, because when they are grieving and your body is not trying to save itself anymore, you are not trying to hide from your emotions again, you're facing it, the adrenaline production will start going down. And when that goes down, the body is no longer in danger. So the appetite would start coming back, because for every time you eat, your body needs energy to digest it. So it's trying to save your life. You cannot be bothered about digesting your food again. So nutrition will start, and once you start getting the appetite back, even if it's just 1 spoon or 2 spoons you feel like eating, don't now go eating empty foods.
Wait, on that one. How about, we'll come to the empty food. I know you take notes. How about those who, their way of grieving is to overeat?
Yes, that is also very true. Some people, no.
The stress eat.
Yes, the stress eat. But in fact, most times that is also grieving. They've not gone past the grieving stage. That's the truth.
That's why they eat a lot.
Anybody overeating has not gone past the grieving stage. They're still grieving.
This grieving thing now.
You can either not eat at all or
overeat. Yes.
When you are grieving. Okay.
But I guess there are more people who don't eat at all.
Oh, of course.
Yes, most people don't eat at all.
So talk about empty foods, right eating as a way of combating cancer, and especially those who love chocolates.
What is it with you and this chocolate?
They know themselves.
Okay. Oh, I think
You better move off the set.
I think like I said, one of the things about grieving is understanding. By the time you've gone through that process where you're grieving, you understand where you are, and the knowledge of what you are supposed to do or what is right for you. That is when it comes to play.
No, I want us to go past.
Stage,
yeah, I want us to go past. I mean, let's drop the grieving, conversation altogether.
That's what I'm saying. That at this stage, you know, you should consciously choose foods that will nourish your body.
Okay. How about,
since you haven't eaten for such a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
So
now, those who are not grieving, they have not grieved. They are not looking forward to grieving.
But they are eating chocolates.
But they are eating chocolates and eating fried KFC, etc.
And eating biscuits and eating cakes.
No. Some biscuits are healthy, like the ones that don't have sugar.
I'm not a party to it.
You're not a party to biscuits?
Can take it once in a while, but it's not a meal.
Once a week is okay, Abby.
Maybe once a month. It's depending on your age
month.
And your health status.
It's not meal, I did say it.
Did you just do that?
What did I do? No, is that closer? So, nutrition. What is the right nutrition? The last time many of people watching us right now did anything like balanced diet was when they were in secondary school.
Okay. So there's a right food for every stage of your life. Like as you're growing from birth, as you're growing older, like let's say from 0 to about 5, you take more protein, but of course carbohydrates, vegetables, fruits, and everything. Then I think from about 10, or maybe from that 5, you start making sure the protein and the carbohydrates they are together. Maybe from 5 to about 20, your protein and your carbohydrates should be the same proportion. But of course, make sure you always take a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, all the time. For every phase of your life, you would always need a lot of vegetables and fruits because of the fiber, because of so many other things there. But for the fiber especially, because that is how you are able to feed the healthy bacteria and all of that, then it helps in the easy peristaltic movements in the intestine and all of that. So basically, then as you grow older, maybe from about 30, you start reducing your carbohydrate intake and you take more of protein.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's the time they said that you should be eating tennis
ball size.
Yes, tennis ball size, yes.
If you must swallow.
I'm guessing now, sorry, that so what will now feed the rest of the tummy?
In fact, I tell people you layer up your food. Start with your fruits, then you take your vegetables, take your protein, then you finish up with your carbohydrates. So by the time you are done with all of this, and you've add water before even the fruits. So by the time you are done with when your stomach is not GP tank, should be filled by now.
But there are some people whom it seems that their stomachs are actually bigger than other people's. I can't see some people that I know eating pounded yam this size. What is that?
And say they are satisfied.
They have had a meal.
In Africa.
But that same person, no problem. You can't take that tennis-sized pounded yam.
Okay.
But you can take a whole watermelon, no problem. Take a medium-sized watermelon. Start with that.
Then he will ask you, is that food?
No, it's not food. He's still going to the food now. Starts with the watermelon. Then the next thing, he takes his vegetables, eats the meat or the chicken. Then I'll finish it up with the poundo.
But you know that in Africa, you start with the poundo. And the poundo has to be a mound.
And the same Africa that was walking for years, and we have gotten to a stage where we now use phones and now drive cars. The same Africans that should not be stuck on
eating mounds of pounded
the way they
fufu.
want. Because if you are accepting development in every other aspect of your life, then you should review your diet too.
Okay, so that's for people above 20 or above 30?
From 30 and above.
From 30 years. Yes. What other things, well now, what are the carcinogenic foods that this age need to be wary of?
Any food you eat that will spike up your glucose. That means...
spike up your?
Glucose.
Okay.
That means excessive carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, your fizzy drinks, your flour products, fill in the gap. Excess carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates.
In other words, apart from your vegetables and fruits, don't eat anything else.
No, I didn't say that.
You don't have to say it.
No,
it's implied.
No, I didn't say that.
It's implied.
No, I didn't just say that. I just said refined carbohydrates. Because what happens when carbohydrates are refined is because they wanted to extend the shelf life, they would tend to remove the fiber. So, and when you don't have fiber coatings around your carbohydrates, once it enters your system, a lot of glucose in your system, your pancreas will have to produce a lot of insulin to combat that glucose. Once the pancreas is stressing itself to produce a lot of insulin to do that, the white blood cells will start coming out. Do you need saving? And that is how chronic inflammation starts. Inflammation starts, chronic inflammation happens in the body.
Okay. Are there foods that people love, particularly in different cultures in Nigeria or anywhere else? Because, I mean, when you're talking about glucose and all those things, for people, some people always thought that beans was protein.
But it's more protein than carbohydrate anyway.
Yes. Okay. So some people thought, certain foods were this class of food, only to wake up one morning and realize that science has reversed their integrated science.
Potatoes.
So are there foods that people need to be... I mean, you've talked about the classes of foods, but there are some foods that people just love. When I was growing up, we ate rice 3 or 4 times a year.
Exactly.
New Year, Easter, Ileya,
Christmas.
That's it. Now it's a staple.
Yeah.
So, are there foods that people need to be careful about or eating too much? Because some people...
Bread. Bread. In fact, I don't know how we got that culture or we got into that culture, but that is where we are right now.
Of eating bread?
Yes.
We should not eat bread again?
No, eat it. But like I said, cut your carbohydrates if you want to eat it, but even eat it in little quantity.
Wait.
If you are looking at any food and you cannot really understand how it got here, like you can't understand how from farm is at this stage, is at this form that you're eating it, then don't eat that food.
Wait, slow down, please. Please. I know that bread comes from bakery.
Okay, so before I got to the bakery, that flour, do you understand how we got there? Okay. Exactly. The minute you have to do don't eat it.
Okay.
At least if I ask you, Gary, where's Gary from?
It's also roasted.
No, but if I ask you where's Gary from, you won't need to do
It's from the person that is...
No, now you and I know it's from cassava. You don't need to do
So where is flour from?
Exactly.
It's from exactly.
We will need Google to answer all those questions.
Okay.
So the minute you have a form of food that you cannot, that is so far from the farm, that you can't, it takes a lot of Google and asking and everything to understand what you have in your palms.
No, please.
It's not something you should eat.
Semo is flour. Amala
is yam.
Is yam flour. Is flour. Flour. Let me go local. Flour.
Flour from yam.
Flour from yam. That's straight now.
As we were trying to say.
I think you have a shares in the bakery.
As we were trying to say.
And if you must eat it, like I said, make sure you coat that carbohydrate.
With what?
Take your fruits before your vegetables, then your protein before taking the carbohydrates.
So the carbohydrate should come last.
Yes, the carbohydrate should come last.
When we were growing up, you had your meal first, then you had your fruit.
When we were growing up, if we want to call our parents, we would have to go and beg before somebody that has one phone in a whole street will help us call. But now we all have access to phones.
So things have changed.
Yes,
they've been reversed. So you have your fruits first before you have your main meal.
Yes.
So
you doctors are just confusing us.
They are not confusing. It's the same thing we've been saying.
We should eat the fruit first before. No, drink water, eat fruit, then eat your main meal.
They say you use the fruits to open the road.
No, you are not using it to open. Like I said, we are using it to coat. Yes, because that way, your body, if the digestion is happening, like you have your fruit first, you have your vegetables before having your carbohydrates. So if the digestion will start, it will start from the fruits, then the vegetables. So then you have enough fiber in the system. So the glucose content of the carbohydrates will not just rush into your system. You won't have that spike, because the problem is the insulin spike in the body.
Now, another thing.
We've run out of time.
Oh, have we?
Yes, we have.
Well, we
have.
Maybe we will take a short break, because I'm told that we'll still continue a bit.
Okay.
Yes. I like to talk about young people. One of the things that I found out recently is that, and I think I've shared it with you before, a child of 10 can have depression.
I'm going through a lot.
They're actually going through a lot.
Please, don't even get me started. Please, don't get me started on a lot. Sorry.
Did we not ask the psychologist the other day?
No,
so what lots can a 13-year-old
pay your own school fees?
You don't pay house rent. You don't pay fees.
No,
you don't.
We are feeding them wrongly. We are teaching them wrongly, or we are structuring their life wrongly. A 10-year-old boy has a lot of testosterone in the system. Let's remember that. Has a lot of energy to expend. But that child will wake up in the morning on holy hours, maybe didn't sleep well, wake up at unholy hours. You now feed that child with fake placebo milk that you think is milk, that is just cornstarch that is inside, and cereal. That is a lot of glucose in that child's system, with folic acid or folates in the body, artificial. That child at the least needs to run off that energy. But no, you are taking that child to school to just sit in class.
Take break.
No, sit in class. When that energy is going up, that is when that child needs to run. But you are forcing that child, you are shouting on that child inside the car. Sit down, sit down, sit down. But his brain is not sitting. His brain wants to run around. And this child will enter class before the morning sun. So it's not even, the body cannot even produce vitamin D, which is an essential vitamin this child needs. And you end up saying this child has ADHD, depression. You prepared the recipe yourself.
So when the child wakes up, we'll give the child water.
Very lovely.
Only water. And then you put them in the car and take them to school.
No, sir, I didn't say that. You give them high protein diets. Even if they have to take the carbohydrates, it will be on top of the protein.
You give them their cornflakes with milk.
Before they start, come and ask you, how far is it from the table? From
milk, the real milk, not the placebo.
Where do they sell?
Ask the doctor.
Anyway, so essentially you're asking parents to be mindful of the food that they give their children.
Yes.
In this whole process. How about young people? I'm not talking about kids. I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about young people.
Teenagers or
teenagers,
young adults.
Into their 30s and all of that. What are the things they're supposed to pay attention to?
We are beginning to see, in fact, for example, I see a lot of young ladies now having hormonal imbalance. In fact, is a norm now. And I think it also has to do with this lifestyle of, they are living alone now. Nobody is really telling them what to eat. So most of them are just... They don't cook. Yes. They feel it has become a flex among them to take some fizzy drinks, those ones in the nylons that were meant for the children. Those are the ones our undergraduate girls are now taking, which is very high in glucose. They don't eat. And that is, at this stage, is when the frontal lobe is really developing, so your body needs a lot of protein. Then your hormones are really working at this age, and they are not feeding it right, because they are just taking lots of junks and all of that. So they need to, we need to work on that thing of teaching our children from home, so that even when they become young adults, they will continue.
I think we're going to have to come back on this conversation. You started this, you're going to have to close it. I think we have to, have a sequel of this conversation. There are some other things that you needed to talk about, but this particular one about young people, definitely something very concerning.
Dr. Bukola Agumbiade, lifestyle doctor. Thank you very much for coming to Bust Our Bubble. Like most of you lifestyle people do, thank you. We're very grateful.
It's always our pleasure.
Yes, we will call you again to come and rebust what you have already burst. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome.
Yes, we shall be giving you the home stretch in just a moment.